Hi everyone, and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 5 of my best bets for tomorrow's horse racing action. Before we get stuck into that, just quickly recap on how our selections ran today. In the end, we would have just come out of a small loss. If you're able to get the 9-4 about something about Angela, then you would have had a nice little win there. We advertised it at 9-4 last night for Dr. Richard Newland and Sam Twiston-Davis. It was well backed throughout the day and just came in at even money at the end, I think was the final SP. But it was a dramatic finale to the race, actually. I think Sam Twiston-Davis actually lost his saddle, and the horse that finished second had a wet sail coming home in the last 100 yards or so, and probably in another couple of strides would have got up. But thankfully, something about Angela, she managed to cling on, and in the end, at least we got a winner there. Elsewhere, it was kind of disappointing, really. Arnap colonised, he drifted in the betting, and then he came back for a little bit of support just before the off. He did go out to 7-1, and then I think he went off around about 11-2, 5-1. There was a bit of support for him just before the off. He ran an okay race for a long way, but then he just lacked the toe to maintain it, and I think they did go quite fast at Wolverhampton in that race. So yeah, it was kind of disappointing from Colonise, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And then also as well, our Longshot, no hiding place at Perth. Couldn't really land a blow today. Made a mistake 4 out, which probably didn't help him. I don't think he probably would have been involved for the places. Also as well, he was fairly well gambled on as well. When I put him up at 12-1 each way, the money came for him really quickly last night. Obviously it probably wasn't me, but there was quite a few other shrewd people putting him up as well. So obviously a lot of people thought that he would run well, but he probably just needed the run, and maybe he is a little bit high in the weights with a bit of hindsight now. But yeah, it was a little bit disappointing there, but hopefully we can turn it around. We've been in good form for pretty much throughout August so far. We had a good start to August, been a little bit quiet the last couple of days, but fingers crossed we can get back to that form tomorrow. And we're going to have 5 of my best tips for tomorrow, and we're going to kick off over the RFC tomorrow with our first selection in the 1 o'clock at Gowran Park. Going here with a horse called Ice Cold Alex. Would love to be cold at the moment. It's absolutely roasting here in the south of England, but this horse is trained by Ken Condon, and Billy Lee is a jockey I always like backing. Always think he gives his best. Now this horse finished second at Cork last time in a decent handicap, a Premier handicap, which is kind of our equivalent to the Heritage handicaps here in the UK. But nonetheless, this horse ran a really eye-catching race. He was probably the one to take out after a second place effort there. He's been well backed actually for a few of these kind of handicaps recently, but just failed to deliver. But I think he's got a few more things in his favour tomorrow. He's going to be dropping back to 7 furlongs, which I think will really help him. He's a strong traveller, and last time out at Cork he didn't get the best of passages, and if he can get a more of a clearer run, I think he's definitely in with a chance tomorrow. You can currently back him at 11-2. I'm going to recommend the Dirty each way here, and I think he's very capable of winning a race of this nature. Ken Condon as well is an underrated trainer in my opinion, trainer of Group 1 winner Rome Nye, so he can do the job. His horses were running well a couple of weeks ago, but even though he hasn't had too many winners recently, I still think he's a man that can get one ready. And at 11-2, and sorry, get a sneeze, sorry about that. Yeah, 11-2. I think he's definitely worth siding with tomorrow, and you don't want to be drawn too wide at Gowran. It's quite a sharp track, very twisting, sharp track, and you always kind of want to be on the inside if you can. And for me, Ice Cold Alex tomorrow just got a lot in his favour tomorrow, and I think off a mark of 84, even though he would have to defy a career best, I think he's definitely capable of that. So that's going to be our opening tip there, and that's just going to be an extra selection. We then go to the 3:20 at Kempton with my nap, which is Masonic for Will Buick and Charlie Hills. Currently 5-2 of bookmakers at the moment, and this horse won very easily at Windsor last time out, and what was, I thought, quite a good standard for the grade. Now that day Tom Marquand was booked to ride, and Will Buick is an interesting jockey booking tomorrow. Probably a little bit of an outside chance now for the Jockeys Championship. It looks like Oisin's just had a couple of good weeks, especially last week when he really needed to put some winners on the board for the Jockey Championship. But who knows, if he maybe gets another cold spell, Will Buick could be one that could pick up quite a few winners again, but he's definitely an interesting jockey book in here. Now for that win at Windsor, this horse was raised £6, but I still think has more to come. He's only a 4-year-old as well, and I think is definitely effective over a trip such as 6 furlongs. And the all-weather track at Kempton tomorrow is currently described as standard to slow, and it's been like that a few times this year, and that means it's really hard work for the horses to get through. It's not as quick as they might normally would be. So you're going to want a horse that probably handles those kind of conditions. And Masonic has won on this description of the surface before, when he won back in his juvenile days as a 2-year-old. So he can handle the surface. He's got a good draw and stall 3 tomorrow. If Will Buick can get him into a good prominent position, I just still think he might have a bit more progression to offer. And at 5-2, I think that represents a little bit of good value there. And for me, I'd be disappointed if he couldn't go really close. So that's going to be the nap there. We then go to Beverley for the 340 with another extra tip here. Ginger Jam for Faye McManaman and Nigel Tinkler. She claims £5 and is an underrated jockey in my opinion. She does normally work quite well for Nigel Tinkler. Now this horse is currently backable at 13-2. I'm going to recommend an each way bet here with the 4 places. Now this horse has been a little bit in and out this season, but if he replicates his Doncaster run a few starts ago when he finished second, he's a major player here. Now last time we saw him, he finished 7th at Newmarket in a race that's worked out actually quite well, because he ran against Blue de Vega, and Blue de Vega was a winner at the weekend for Robert Cal at Ascot, so the form isn't too bad. And going back to Beverley as well is going to really help him. He's a 4-time course winner. He won a couple of times here last season with Faye McManaman. She knows him really well, and he's got a good draw as well tomorrow in stall 4. Again, at Beverley, you always want a good draw. You don't want to be normally too wide, especially over the sprint trips. So for me, I think Ginger Jam tomorrow's got a lot of things in his favour. He likes a quick surface, and for me at 13-2, I think he's definitely capable of going close in this race. So I'm going to recommend each way bet there, and I'll be disappointed if we can at least get a run for our money. We then go to our long shot, which is in the 525 at Kempton, an amateurs race here. I'm going to go with Light of Air for Katie Brooks, claiming 5 for Gary Moore. Now this horse really wasn't given a hard time last time out. He finished 7th for Lingfield, but the jockey, I can't remember the name, it might have been Anna Pearson, I think it was. She never really gave him much of a ride, in the sense that she never really asked him for a lot of effort, and it was probably just a prep run just to get him back on track. And Katie Brooks knows this horse really well. She actually won an amateur race at Brighton last year off his last winning mark, which happens to be a 59, and he's back down to that last winning mark now, 59. He was dropped £1 for that run at Lingfield, and I just think in a race where you want a horse that is capable of doing well in these races and has got a good relationship with the rider, I think at 14-1 that's a massive price, and especially as well the 4 places. And Gary Moore's horses have been running okay. They've had a couple of winners in the last few weeks. I think they're operating around about 20% strike rate, so they're going not too badly, and not a bad draw as well in stall 3 tomorrow. Again, Kempton's a track you don't always want a particularly wide draw, and I just think there's a lot of things in Light of Air's favour tomorrow. We know he can stay well as well. He's won over hurdles before, so no, he's not won over hurdles, but he's ran well over hurdles before, so we know he can get 2 miles. And for me, I just think, again, he's one that could be maybe overlooked in the betting markets tomorrow, and I think at 14-1 represents good each way value. We then go to the 550 at Beverley with our next bet, with a horse called Kesarina for Ben Curtis and Sir Michael Stout. Now this horse finished 4th at Sandown last time, off the mark of 70, stayed off the same mark, but I think the thing that's going to help this horse tomorrow is stepping up in trip. It's bred for stamina. It's actually a half sister, believe it or not, to Zaki, who's Sir Michael Stout's done well with in group races. But if you look on a lot of the downside of the pedigree, a lot of them got 1.5 miles, and she's going to go up to 1.5 miles tomorrow. I think that will suit. I think that form of the race as well is probably one of the best form lines coming into here. That race at Sandown wasn't too bad. Even though the favourite did get turned over next time out, they were of a higher ability than these at Beverley tomorrow. She's currently 2-1 with bookmakers at the moment, and I think that's quite a fair price there. This horse does have a wide draw, but then maybe again over the longer trips, that's not maybe necessarily a massive issue at Beverley. So I think there's a lot to like about this horse's chances tomorrow, and I'd be disappointed if she couldn't defy a mark of 70. So that's going to be the next best tomorrow, and hopefully we can have some winners. So I'll just quickly recap. In the 1 o'clock at Gowran Park tomorrow, we go my extra tip, Ice Cold in Alex, 11-2 each way. The nap runs in the 320 at Kempton with Masonic, 5-2 win. The 340 at Beverley, Ginger Jam, 13-2 each way. 4 places, I should have said. And in the 525 at Kempton, Light of Air for Kate Brooks and Gary Moore, 14 to 1 each way, 4 places. And in the 550 at Beverley, Kesarina, 2 to 1. That's the next best for Sir Michael Stout, and fingers crossed we can end on a winner there. So they're the 5 best bets for tomorrow's racing. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit subscribe for more videos here on my YouTube channel. Also as well, if you want to follow me on social media, the place to do so is at LuckyLoader15. That's my handle on Twitter. And if you want to check out my latest blog, which is on my website, you can do. I wrote a piece yesterday for my weekend eye catchers, so make sure you click the link if you haven't done so below in the description box. And also as well, there's a full record for my profit and loss if you wonder how I do. Since the 1st of June, we've had every month's been profitable, and we are in profit still for August. So hopefully we can continue our good form throughout August into tomorrow. And please gamble responsibly, and we'll be seeing you soon.